Hey, what's going on? I'm Matt O'Leary back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about Henry Ruggs and if the New York Jets are actually serious about drafting him. But before we get started, I just wanted to mention that you can follow me on social media at Matt O'Leary NY on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all that fun stuff. And also you can get at me on the podcast as well. Call in, leave your questions wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure to subscribe, rate, review, all that fun stuff. Really appreciate it. Every new episode comes out on Mondays. So Ralph Falciano of SNY came out yesterday and said the New York Jets are very interested in Henry Ruggs. And this is the second time a rumor about Henry Ruggs and the New York Jets is coming out. The first time was the NFL Combine, where Joe Douglas had the quote saying, "Speed builds pressure, pressure bursts pipes." Did I get that one, Green Bean? And it's easy to fall in love with a prospect like Henry Ruggs. He's 5'11", 188, and he runs a 4.27. A 4.27 speed as a wide receiver is phenomenal. You very rarely see someone with 4.2 speed coming out of the draft. It's rare. And he could take a top off of defense similar to what Robbie Anderson could, but he is a more complete player than some other guys who are just built on only speed. Over the last 2 years, he's had roughly 740 yards in each of those two seasons, 11 touchdowns in 2018, 7 this past year, and that might not seem like a crazy amount of production, but when you consider the team he's playing for, Alabama, and that they have two other really good receivers on that team, one of them is Jerry Jeudy, who is arguably the best wide receiver in this draft class. You could kind of see why he's not getting a million targets and putting up a ton of yardage and touchdowns. He has really good hands, and he could absolutely murder cornerbacks against man coverage because he is just too fast. Guys can't keep up with him, similar to what Tyreek Hill is, except he's not a jerk and a bad guy like what Tyreek Hill is off the field. He could be the New York Jets version of that. All these teams now are going with more speed, and it's a copycat league, and you could see the success of the Chiefs and the Ravens and how they've got by with fast offenses, and the New York Jets are potentially aligning themselves to do the same thing. You bring in Perryman, who is arguably just as fast, if not faster, than what Robbie Anderson is. And then you could potentially bring in a guy who runs a 4.2 to put on the opposite side of him and Crowder in the slot. Whew, that could be a really high power and potent offense, which would be a lot of fun and a welcome change because you have to make life as easy for Sam Darnold as possible. He is in year 3 now, and the excuses are going to have to start going away, and he's going to have to start producing a little bit more. I think that he has done about as good as he possibly could with the talent around him and with the coaching and offensive situations. But if you want him to take that year 3 leap, you're going to have to put quality around him, and you are starting to do that if you are taking a guy like Henry Ruggs. Now, I guess I have to answer the question of do I believe this rumor? And honestly, I don't. And I know that's going to be hypocritical because I just want to talked about this guy up, and I like Henry Ruggs a lot. He's my 3rd favorite wide receiver in this draft. I go Jeudy 1, Lamb 2, but very close, and then a little bit of a step down, and Ruggs is right there at 3, but he's an intriguing piece. At 11, I think he's probably a reach because I expect both those two other receivers to be there, and I'd rather one of those two guys. But I certainly see the enticing qualities of a guy like Henry Ruggs because no one else has that kind of speed in this draft class. And he is completely different than the other two receivers. I personally prefer Jeudy because of his route running, and I think he can get open and make life really easy for Sam Darnold. But as long as the pick is on offense and wide receiver or offensive line, then I would be happy. And that's my next point, is Joe Douglas comes from a background of offensive line. We know this. He did in free agency a ton to that offensive line. He brought back Lewis. He signed guys like Fant. He signed guys like McGovern. He signed guys like Van Roten. And he's trying to build depth on that offensive line. So to me, I think his plan is going to sit there at 11, not move back, not trade up, and just take the best offensive tackle available, whether that is Jedrick Wills, Tristan Wirfs, Andrew Thomas, or Mekhi Becton, whichever one is sitting there, he is going to take. And I'm assuming that one is going to be there. Yes, there are certain scenarios where the 10 teams in front of you could take those big 4, and then you're kind of stuck. If that's the case, he can move back and try to take a Josh Jones. but I think he is going to sit there and just hope for the best offensive lineman available. Let me know what you think his plan is. If you think the New York Jets are going to draft a wide receiver, specifically Henry Ruggs, get at me in the comments or on social media. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe if you're new here and want more New York Jets content. I'm Matt O'Leary. I'll talk to you next time.